Tonight on Ramblers Unleashed, it is WrestleMania week. Will Baron be able to contain his excitement for WrestleMania week? Will J-Bone's old ass stay awake long enough for the show? Will this be the night Dizzy snaps on his co-hosts? Who unblocked Max on Twitter? The answers to one or more of these questions may surprise you. Next on Ramblers Unleashed.
Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
We are so close to Wrestlemania 41 live in Vegas. I am stoked for it. I know these three are stoked for it. And we're here to talk to some wrestling tonight. Welcome to another edition of Ramblers Unleashed. What is this? Number 55, 56? What is this?
57.
50-freaking-7 episodes so far. My God.
And it's still lower than J-Bone's age.
I love it. Well, welcome to your Tuesday.
What a piece of shit!
Right?
I know, J-Bone at his age, he's
don't talk to my best friend over here.
Don't talk
Like
to my best friend like that.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare talk to my best friend like that. Oh my God. What a way to open the show.
When did we switch sides? How am I just been stoned for so long that I don't remember? Max is up there now.
You're always over here.
I'm always over here. I know where I'm at. That's the only thing I can look at is myself.
I'm always
you two went to Culver's without us.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, that was like a year ago already. I'm just saying.
And that's why I've been up here ever since.
He wants to be close to me because he knows that I'm not going to betray him. Okay?
Sorry.
That's it right
But
there.
you're next to the cooler
Close to you.
guy,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn right. Which, by the way, welcome to tonight's show. And get your WrestleMania predictions into this guy over here. Why do you ask? Because you could get yourself some really, really cool merchandise, Ramblers Unleashed merchandise, if you are the person with the closest, the best predictions. All right, we want to see your predictions, and we will announce those predictions. We will announce the winner's predictions. The winner of the merchandise, if you get the best predictions, we are going to send you some cool merchandise from Ramblers Unleashed from the store, which, by the way, the store is in the link to the store is in the description of this video. You could get a hat like what Max has. Max, you were like the perfect Vanna White, dude. You are like, see, you're gonna Vogue here in just a minute. But get your predictions to @MaxMages on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and get your predictions to Max.
Listen, I am 100% positive we are one match short of a full load.
We are.
So I'm pretty sure we'll get that match Friday, but I need your predictions before Saturday morning. Sometime Friday night is the cutoff.
Yes. So Friday night is the cutoff. Friday night, 11, midnight. Saturday morning. Saturday.
Right about the time the Hall of Fame is starting.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I thought that was NXT. Because NXT is going, it's a weird time for NXT. But get your predictions into MaxMages, @MaxMages on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. And the best person who has the best predictions will get some free merchandise from your Ramblers. And we hope you enjoy it. And happy WrestleMania season. Let's get into some introductions. First and foremost, I have to introduce my best friend, the person who would never even think about eating Culver's without any one of us, especially me, And he's the only person that I know who pops bigger for Joel Gertner than any of us, which, by the way, if you don't know who Joel Gertner is, you need to go and Google him. You'll thank us later. The traders, well, I guess only one trader is left. So this guy can and call him Mr. Magus, but Baron and myself, we can call him the Mighty Maximus Magus Golfers Club. Max, how are you?
I am so excited.
Yes.
It is the greatest week of the year. It is the build-up to the most holy of days in the pro wrestling world.
Yes.
No, I'm not talking about Easter. I am talking about WrestleMania.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
How dare you put out 420, blaze it, holiday to the third of the list, man?
It's not third on the list to me. I think you misunderstood me. I made it clear that I am not calling Easter the most holy of holidays. I'm calling WrestleMania that. I didn't say anything negative about 420, which is also a number 2 on the list, just for the record.
Which, by the way, I can't believe that Easter is falling on 420. It just blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Thanks, Trips.
Lucky people over in Vegas. I'm not sure how in the hell they afford those tickets to get over there. I've looked into them. I was willing to put some dollars down on this event, but like, this shit is expensive, man. Holy hell!
Listen, let me tell you why Easter's falling on 420 this year. Even the bunny needs a break from everybody's shit this year.
Yeah. So that's true. So Saturday, we are going to be live here on YouTube to give you our predictions for WrestleMania. And Baron just said the tickets are expensive. Do you know who's going to WrestleMania? He's a really good friend of our show from the Destroying Kayfabe days. And that is our buddy Austin Hollis. And I've actually asked Austin to join us on the show on Saturday. He's going to be out in the crowd. Like, he is going to be out there in front of the stadium waiting to get into WrestleMania. And he's going to talk to we're going to see if he can talk to some of the people and get their predictions for WrestleMania too. Just pick like one match and ask them who's going to go over, So that'll be kind of cool.
You know how long it's been since we've talked to Puddin' Brain?
I know, it's been forever since.
So he's going to be in the crowd when he's live with us?
He's going to be he's going to be waiting. I've asked him to be like out in front of the stadium with other people, and we're just going to give him like time to talk to folks.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
I thought that would be kind of cool, and it's a special thing we can do for WrestleMania. So why not?
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Is he going both nights or just...
I don't know if he's going both nights. I think he is, though. Honestly, I don't know. We'll have to ask him when he's on. We're still working out the details with him. When we get the details, we'll work out with the details with him. And then we were going to let you know when you can tune in right here on youtube.com/Ramblers Unleashed, which, by the way, Max, we'll get to the desk of Max Magus later on in the program. Next up, the person whose catchphrase is and will always be, sir, please.
$9.99.
And
420.
Yes, because we're so close to 420. The one who gets higher than planes and burps in the mic and hates AEW more than anyone that I know. Wow. And who used to be a hand feed Culvers to J-Bone in a picnic without his 2 other podcast mates. But we've forgiven him for that.
That's just weird. It never happened.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, J-Bone? Excuse me? It never happened?
Wow.
The ties have turned. WrestleMania season's almost over, folks.
You were so high, I made you think it happened, but it never really happened.
Whoa.
That's happened a few times in my life, so yeah, this could have been another one.
In all the time we've been doing this show, I have only seen one person get so loopy they didn't realize what they were doing while they were high on the show, and it wasn't the Baron.
Yeah. No, it was not the Baron at all.
No, well, folks, let's not go back to the old school Ramblers days where
what?
They forced me to sit in my chair and watch ECW so we could do reviews. There was a lot of alcohol throwing in through my blood during that period of time. I couldn't even smoke cannabis. I couldn't even enjoy flower at that time because it was so awful.
Even while watching Rob Van Dam, he couldn't enjoy the flower.
Listen, there is a podcast that I love to listen to. It's called Small Town Murder.
Well, I thought you meant Ramblers Unleashed.
Oh, hold on. It is hosted by James Petrogallo and Jimmy Wisman, who are comedians. Okay, they do not do a typical "this is how this murder went down" type of podcast. They make fun of stuff, small towns, police forces. They don't make fun of the victims because they're assholes, not scumbags. Now, that's how I kind of viewed us when we were doing the ECW reviews, because the entire time we were making fun of stuff during the reviews, even though it was so difficult to sit through it. And I consider it one of the best times in the Ramblers history.
It was a good time.
Oh, it was a great time. Don't get me wrong. However, we still had to watch it.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, I got an update. I just found a very recent 2025 picture of the Easter Bunny. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead, lay it on us. Hey!
Wait a minute. That was the Baron at last Halloween.
Oh, is that what, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. It's close.
It's just him without his
portrait.
It's him.
But lucky, anybody going down to Mania this weekend, it's gonna have a great time, man. I'm jealous.
Absolutely, we all are. We all are jealous. Baron,
real quick, before you introduce anybody else, I would like to blow the minds of everybody here. I logged on to Twitter and had a surprise waiting for me. What was that, yesterday?
Whoa.
We have talked on the show about how I have managed to offend certain people and get blocked. And one of them I was actually kind of proud of because, damn, he dumb. Well, I logged on yesterday and found that he has unblocked me. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryback's tweets are visible to me again. Let the roasting continue.
Did you follow him yet?
No.
Go follow him. I dare you to go follow him. Which, by the way, Baron, we've got your buzzkill moment later on in the show, but we haven't fully introduced you. Golfers clap for the Baron.
You ready?
Thanks, fans. I appreciate you all. Much love.
Done.
Look at that. Oh, my gosh. Let's see how long it takes for him to realize that he made a mistake. Next up, finally, the producer of the show, the last of the traitors, who likes to gift Baron Culvers while giving Max and I the finger, laughing maniacally as they skip off hand in hand to the park, but without his wonderful Mrs. J-Bone, who gives us his time. And by the way, Mrs. J-Bone, we're still waiting for you to do that thing with the chair that we sent you. If you know what I mean.
She'll never turn on me.
Yeah, she will.
No, she won't.
Money talks, my friend. Take care of that for us, please. Ladies and gentlemen, golfers, clap for J-Bone. How are you, man?
Dying.
Dying? No, don't die, man. I mean, it's just chair shot, dude. We don't want to kill you.
Just knock me out. Just knock me out for the rest of the week and wake me up for Mania. Okay, that's
wake
all I'm
me up when Mania ends. You know what, man? I'm happy that we're all here. We all get to talk wrestling tonight. But it looks like Max has something on his mind, real quick.
I'm starting to think that maybe she already did take that corrective action for us.
She might have.
I mean, look at him. He looks like he has a little bit of head trauma going on right now.
Yeah, kind of. And with everything that has been going on, I would say that the chair shot has possibly happened. Did you piss her off?
What?
Did you piss her off?
Who?
Your wife.
Oh, no. Why would I do that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, J-Bone, one of the benefits of being old as I understand it from watching the movie Waiting, is that you can flip people off and everyone else is like, oh, he's old. But on the other hand, you can flip people off and everyone's like, oh, he's old.
Yes, right.
See,
Yep.
if I'm not having a good day, I just walk around the dining room of my store going, "Get off my lawn!" And then they just look at me and go, "Ha, he's funny."
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Well-
sorry to cut the old man off, but
Well, Jay, before we get to that, hold on, J-Bone. We actually have a new feature for J-Bone tonight, and we're going to debut that coming up here in just a moment. Max, go ahead, sir.
I apologize for cutting the old man off, but Methuselah's time is up and my time is now.
Please,
Ladies
don't
and
cut
gentlemen,
me.
before I get into the introduction of introductions,
Get
first
off my
off,
lawn.
I have to introduce the 5th member of Ramblers Unleashed. The people that make this to where we're not just 4 guys sitting here talking to each other on camera. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th member, you all, our chat people. Thank you, our viewers.
We
Now-
love you.
We love most of you. Styles, we're on the fence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the man who makes this all happen, the man who puts the stories together, the man without whom we would not be Ramblers. We would be on shows like Destroying Kayfabe or, TNI is a good show, but we'd just be talking less and we'd be nameless co-hosts, as J-Bone pointed out last week.
In that case, you'd be talking less. Oh my God, you'd be perfect.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my best friend, the man with the voice to do these shows, the voice for radio, the voice for podcasting, the golden voice, my best friend, Dizzy.
Thank you. Thank you. I love how, okay, thank you. I was going to say, I love how Max is the only one that's clapping, and I get a slow clap from the Baron. The Baron's like, fuck you. I hate
Fuck you, motherfuckers. Fuck you.
I'm clapping with one hand.
Thank you, Max. As always, that was beautiful. Appreciate you. And let's go over real quick the cards. Yes, I said cards for WrestleMania 41 for Saturday.
Hallmark.
It's the War. Stop. It's the War Raiders versus the New Day for the the World Tag Team Championship belts. Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano in the singles match, as well as Jade Cargill versus Naomi. LA Knights versus Jacob Fatu for the WWE United States Championship. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, which has been a heated debate between those two, heated rivalry for the WWE Women's Championship. Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Roman Reigns versus CM Punk with Paul Heyman and versus Seth Rollins in a triple threat match. For Sunday, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria in a tag team match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio in a fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship. Damian Priest takes on Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. And Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. But we still have the SmackDown Go Home show. So here is the question of the day for you, for the listeners, and for us too. Who do we think they will announce for Randy Orton as a match? Do we think he's going to get a last minute match? If so, who do we think is going to take it? And we'll start with the Baron, because I'm interested to hear what you have to.
Me?
Yeah, let's start with you.
I don't think we're going to get it announced on SmackDown. I think we're going to have to wait till Mania. I think he's going to come out and have a little segment of some sorts, and it'll lead into a match. Or maybe he'll do open challenge of some sort,
Open challenge would be awesome.
Yeah, I think like an open challenge at Mania would be pretty cool. I don't want him to announce it on SmackDown. I think it would be much cooler to have like an opening segment with him or something. There's so many options for him. Solo is definitely one I thought, but there's been so many other names thrown into the ring since then. So
there is Sheamus. Solo's a great option. There's just so many names, but
I think if I had to choose a name, either, and I know people are not going to want to hear this because there's concrete proof of him being legitimately injured, but there's also the speculations that he's not. So if it's not Kevin Owens, which we're guessing that it's not, he's seriously injured, but we might just throw it out there that maybe he's not, but I'll go the same as Zayn.
Okay.
I feel like there's some history between those two. He can come into the match and kind of like step in for Kevin Owens, regardless of them having that beef. Yeah. And it'll be a great match. But also, I think this would be the time to debut somebody.
Yeah.
If we're going to.
Yeah. I mean, if the New Day wasn't already booked in a match, I would say Kofi Kingston, because they had a feud too for a while. But J-Bone, who do you think would go head to head with Randy Orton, man?
Can I give you like two options?
Sure.
Just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
All right. So for shits and giggles, for someone who is on the roster and that is available and recently made himself known on social media, I'd say Sheamus. I'd say, you know what? This is one of those years where, or just one of those situations where, so many times it's like, oh no, it's got to be a heel. No, shut up. No, it does not have to be a heel. Right now, at this point, the fans just want Randy Orton to have a good wrestling match because he's iconic. So why not throw in someone that's been around almost as long and make it Sheamus and just give us a good 15-minute match? Just, good old slobberknocker. As far as if we're going to have someone that maybe someone's coming back soon. There's been some rumblings of some rumors of rumblings. And no, I don't mean the Royal Rumble. That's next year. I'd say like Malachi Black or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Okay, that would be good. Max, I'm interested to hear your thoughts, man.
First off, while I like your theory of Malachi Black, I don't see him facing Orton because I see him as part of the situation. I think he's going to be a part of the masked wrestler match that's taking place, Ray and Gable, because I still think he's the guy that taught Gable how to deal with luchadors. But we'll see where he goes with that. And Sheamus is always a good option. I mean, they can put on a solid match. Cross is throwing his name into the ring. Earlier, we were talking about the fact that you have possible debuts, including Rey Fenix, who debuted on SmackDown recently. Maybe he'll get his WrestleMania debut this year. But there's one more name that I wanted to throw out there, one that we know is signed to WWE that has not had his first televised match yet and has long been speculated to be somehow involved in the whole bloodline drama on one side or the other, and that is Hikuleu. He has been signed since July 2024. He has been working with the WWE this whole time, and feasibly, this could be a good time to put him into a match and give him his debut.
That's a lot to put on a kid like that, but I hear you. It's a nice choice. I hear you.
It's not like he doesn't have some in-ring experience in high-pressure situations.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, literally, it could be anyone, and they could do this at any time and in any way. So I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen on Sunday with Randy Orton. Again, if you have your thoughts, let us know in the chat. Let's move on. And the internet, we know, is a cesspool of negativity. It's really easy for keyboard warriors and basement bookers to criticize the product. And you know what? Triple H is done with the critics too. While speaking on the Flagrant podcast, Triple H explained that the internet isn't a reflection of real life and that the complaining and negativity online isn't accurate. He pointed out that while people online might say something is dead, it's far from the truth. For example, some people online said Cody Rhodes' career as a babyface was over, but Triple H disagreed. He pointed out that Cody Rhodes still gets huge cheers from crowds of 10,000 to 15,000 people every night and sells the most merchandise. Now, despite what people say online, what really matters are reactions from the live crowd. And the game also mentioned Jey Uso, who a lot of people have been criticizing, but he's still getting, like the Baron, but he's still getting reactions, big reactions, and selling merchandise there too. And in the end, Triple H reminded everyone that opinions online aren't always accurate, and the real feedback comes from the fans in the arena. Triple H's comments remind us that in WWE, reactions from live fans are much more important than the loud opinions from social media. Whether it's Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, the energy from the crowd and their support for the product show that what's said online doesn't always reflect the full picture. And the Cerebral Assassin knows that all too well. And honestly, I think it's a great concept. I mean, who gives a shit about basement bookers? I mean, we come on here from time to time and discuss a match, and maybe if we didn't like it and whatnot, we'll speak our piece, but we don't take it to social media. We don't type it out. We come on here, this show, and we talk about it live. And if we have something to say, it's said here, which I'm really proud of what we do here. And we try not to be negative, but sometimes it comes off as negativity, even though we don't want to, but it may come off as negativity because we're so passionate about this sport, about this industry. And we care about what happens and what people say about this industry and in certain promotions and what certain promotions do. And we just want to magnify the fact that we appreciate professional wrestlers for what they do. We appreciate the fact that these companies exist to give us entertainment, because at the end of the day, it is a business, and we know that they're there to make money, even though we don't really approve or go with the storylines that they're trying to sell us. They're there to make money, and they're there to entertain us. And that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Though,
yes,
I think I always, no matter what, I think that's just my my MO on the show. Always got to go. I agree, but I always got to,
and that's what I love about you, man. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about the show. Yeah. We can all agree to disagree type ordeal. However, clearly he cares because he mentioned it. And they do clearly pay attention to social media, because social media they like to brag about that quite often. Yeah. I think when it comes to those keyboard warriors, I mean, you're going to get that. I mean, no matter what genre or category it is, you're going to get that all the time. And, the one cool thing that we have as human beings is we could talk however we want, freedom of speech type of thing, as long as we're not, obviously degrading a human being.
Yeah,
it's not okay. We don't do that, people. But you know what I'm getting at. Like I like some of those opinions that are out there, as long as we're not bashing someone. I think it's what makes wrestling great, because we all have a different mindset of how things can pan out. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that factor. Now, I think he was more leaning towards how some of these fans are just like obnoxious about it. Yeah. I think that's what he was heading towards, instead of just the entire fan base, because wrestling's fan base is built off of, like the fan base, that's how wrestling's been built for years. And you're going to get a lot more people on social media than you are in the live crowds every single day.
Yeah. And I completely agree with that. I think he's talking about the folks who are constantly on social media. They monitor the WWE Twitter feed or the X feed or the Facebook feed, and they just mock it, you know. And I think that's what he's going after. That's what he's talking about, is just the guys who sit in their mom's basement eating meatloaf, and they just criticize everything that this sport is doing. Meatloaf, yeah, meatloaf, mom's meatloaf. You know,
Damn, that sounds good right now.
That's so good. I know.
That sounds real good right now.
As long as it's with mac and cheese, that's
Well, I mean, it's got to have mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, mashed potatoes.
Yes.
That was not mac and cheese you heard Mom making.
Hey
now.
Hey, listen, I think there's a difference between what he's referring to and what we do. Yes, we have our opinions, and sometimes we get kind of negative. I will not name the name of the person I'm most negative about because she shall not be named. But listen, there's a difference. We're technically journalists, if you think about it. We're not, but we kind of are. We sit here and we talk about it. We give our opinions. We all have a different opinion on certain things, and we bounce that off and we share all those viewpoints. It's not like we're just sitting here constantly criticizing something. For example, the Baron has made it very clear that he's not big on Jey Uso, and that's fine. You know, I am, and that's part of what I like about the show is that we're not all sitting here yeeting the entire night. You know, you got Dizzy and I yeeting, the Baron's down there no yeeting, and then you got J-Bone wondering where the hell we are and how did we get here. So the main thing I want to point out though is that the constant negative barrage comes from a select group on the internet, on social media. When we talk about them all the time, we point out what's wrong with that particular group. And that group is made up of a couple of different subgroups. In that group of the IWC, you have the WWE loyalists that AEW is trash and we don't want anything to do with it, and they bash the fans. Listen, I get it. You don't like AEW, let the fans enjoy what they want. And then you have the AEW guys that are like, oh, y'all are drones because you still watch WWE, and it's fine that you don't like WWE, but leave the fans out of it. But these are the same people that are out there running their mouths and criticizing every little decision people like Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, The Rock, certain other promoters that they're making. And that's not, I mean, that's great. You have an opinion, and I'm all for you having your opinion. But when it becomes every single thing they do, you're criticizing it, and there's nothing positive you have to say about these people, that's where you get into that realm that Triple H is like, I'm ignoring all this.
Like if they breathe wrong. Oh my God, Stephanie just breathed wrong.
Oh my God, Triple H sneezed during the press conference.
Yeah.
Triple H is going to the Hall of Fame. Well, somebody on this show said that, but
what?
Not naming names.
I just want to say
that's the beauty of
something.
wrestling. We can have those discussions, and we can say what we want to say, do what we want to do, as long as we're not degrading a human being life here. And I have more problems with the people that are considered authority figures, not really authority, but like journalists in the industry in wrestling than I do the fans.
Yeah.
That are promoting that negativity and promoting that fake realism in wrestling. Like they're actually the worst part of it all. Like a Dave Meltzer and things along those lines.
Well, yeah, they're the disease that we definitely want to get rid of. The IWC is honestly the disease that we wish would just go the fuck away, but it's not going to, because everybody, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
Right.
So,
Hey, and I just want to say something about the fans real quick. So, by the way, I didn't burn the meatloaf. The meatloaf is all good.
I like my meatloaf burnt though.
A little burnt on it. You got to get ketchup on it, boys. Extra squirt of ketchup.
You got to have that little crisp about it, right?
I like a good crisp with the meatloaf.
Yes, I do too. Go ahead, Jim.
Just only around the edges. Like the middle's just got to be done perfect.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do anything for love.
But
Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong Meatloaf. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Wrong Meatloaf. Let's move on. If you are wondering if we will see more of Randy Orton, you can safely place your money on yes. The Viper, who signed a fresh 5-year deal with WWE back in August 2024, made it clear that when this contract is up, he's ready to keep going. And for a guy who's nearly had it all taken away after a brutal back injury sidelined him in 2022, Orton isn't taking a second of this run for granted. He explained that every moment in the locker room inside the ring hits harder these days because he knows the end could sneak up at any time. Right now, Orton is heading into WrestleMania 41 weekend without a confirmed match. That could change. His original plans were scrapped after Kevin Owens revealed he needed neck surgery, leaving the Apex Predator without a dance partner. So with that said, Orton is still a top draw and a fan favorite. Don't be surprised if WWE throws a major curveball either before Showtime or after Showtime too. And speaking of shows, during a fiery appearance on the Flagrant podcast, Triple H let the world on WWE's global roadmap out, and he said Mexico is officially on the list. He mentioned that they are going back to France, Paris, Perth, the Middle East, and then he confirmed that Mexico as well. He says that they're ready to go. Right, he's flat out confirmed that the destination for a future event is ready to go, while 2026 is still the likely target based on recent backstage chatter. The statement from Triple H is their strongest sign yet that the company is ready to bring a spectacle south of the border. Now, the first idea gained traction after Bad Bunny casually dropped a comment suggesting Backlash might be coming to Mexico, but the buzz was quickly shut down at the time. But now it seems the only thing that he got wrong was the year. So that's exciting for fans in Mexico, bringing WWE to that country. And
haven't they been there though, or are they trying to like promote it as the first time, or
maybe
for like a PLE? Is that I guess what we're thinking here?
Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Have they?
They've been to Mexico many times. They've done plenty of shows in Mexico.
It may have been like a house show.
Maybe
it was like more house shows than it was a televised.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah.
I would assume they've been to Mexico. Baron, you'll be excited for this story. I'm sure you watched your boo on Monday Night Raw, but fans are talking about Liv online, not specifically her match with Bayley, but her gear. Liv debuted fresh gear that instantly caught the WWE's universe attention, but it wasn't the color or the design that had people talking. It was the list of names printed on her legs, and more importantly, who wasn't there. So I don't know if you caught this. Carlito, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and Raquel Rodriguez all had their names featured on Liv's new ring gear, but one glaring omission stood out, and that's Daddy Dom. His absence has left fans asking what's really going on behind the scenes between the on-screen couple. And Dominic isn't just a fellow member of the Judgment Day. He's been positioned as Morgan's storyline partner ever since she joined the faction at SummerSlam last year. So when fans noticed that he didn't make the cut on her latest look, speculations erupted about a possible shift in their dynamic inside the company or even a potential breakup. And Morgan has been pushing on her daddy Dom to elevate himself ahead of WrestleMania, and expectations are high as Mysterio falls into a fatal four-way match for the Intercontinental Championship this coming weekend. But if he doesn't deliver, Morgan might not be waiting around. Fans could realign with she could probably realign with Finn Balor, who is featured on her new gear. Now, it's not a noticeable design flaw, but it got me thinking, Baron. With the rumor mill spinning fast and heavy, could this be the end of Dom and Liv? And is Liv coming to Daddy Baron?
Yeah. But did she have a Dirty Dom t-shirt on though?
No, I don't think she had a Dirty Dom t-shirt on.
Really?
Not
I thought she did. No,
not when she was going out to. No, not. I don't think when she was going out to the ring.
I mean, we have to be real here. This has to be ending, right? Judgment Day in general.
I would assume they're gonna. I would assume
Has to
that the
disband
Judgment Day
at
has
Mania.
to be ending at some point.
It has to be at Mania. Like, it has to be done at Mania. So this could be foreshadowing here, and she could be done with Dirty Dom. He loses the match. She no longer wants to be with him. They call the Baron out there to take over. I mean, there's so many options here they got. But I did not notice that, and I it's interesting though, because like that's her, like that is like some of the best work I've seen, you know, like her and Dirty Dom. So I hate that they would break that up. I think they've done great. But also I think Dominic could go and do whatever he wants. I think he is at that level at this point that with the crowd he's over, whether he's getting booed or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know,
This is from our partner at ringsidenews.com. So this is what Liv walked out in.
Well, what am I looking at here? Is she got like names somewhere written on her?
She has
On the
names on her
boots.
legs, on her boots.
Oh.
But she didn't have a Daddy Dom t-shirt on.
Yeah, her
Yeah,
right boot-
but
her
boot.
right boot says
But let's
Carlito
foreshadow
JD.
this here. She has it on her boot. Are we could we symbolize something else
Let's see if we can.
as them getting the boot out of the Judgment Day?
No, because her right boot says Carlito JD, her left boot says Raquel and Fenn. So if that was the case, she's saying she's kicking her own tag team partner out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Or she's kicking. Yeah, Daddy Dom's got the boot. So
That's interesting. I mean, like they don't have a huge storyline going into Mania like they did the previous couple of years. Judgment Day in general, they're all just kind of throwing that hodgepodge match.
well, yeah, they kind of. I mean, it's kind of getting stale anymore. I mean, the Judgment Day is kind of getting. Yeah, who cares? You know.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. They've changed, like, you know, like Liv's no longer the champion.
Yeah.
Everybody's disbanded. Rhea left. You know, so there's a lot of different dynamics with that.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Liv goes to Daddy Dom or goes back to Daddy Dom or stays with Daddy Dom or she goes to Daddy Baron. I'm going to push for Daddy Baron
So
and get what Baron wants.
I just pulled up Netflix while we were discussing this, and I loaded up that entrance, her entrance down to the ring, and I just noticed something that I would not have noticed if we hadn't been scrutinizing her outfit because of this story.
Uh-huh.
Her top has 2 built-in piercings on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like 2 built-in piercings.
Hey. Baron, you could be having some fun, buddy.
I don't get it.
Oh, well.
I'm kidding.
Well, that's interesting. That's something that I didn't even notice.
Grandpa, take your meds and take a nap.
No kidding. Let's move on to some AEW news, though, and let's go from the desk of Max Magus. And we actually have this is actually a 2-parter for you, Max. So Layla Hirsch, she was a part of the AEW family for the past few years, but it came to an end earlier this year after AEW chose not to re-sign her contract. And in the light of her departure, Hirsch has now revealed how things soured between her and AEW and how she was eventually ghosted. While speaking on the Soul Sessions, Layla Hirsch talked about how she felt before leaving AEW. She said she had a lot of mixed feelings because she was frustrated with how things were going. And her contract ended on the same day as her wedding. But there was already a lot of, so there was a lot happening in her life. But about 6 weeks before her contract ended, she tried talking to Tony Khan, where she didn't talk about money or the contract itself. She wanted to know if there was a plan for her if she stayed. She felt like she had been patient and done everything that she was asked to do, but she wanted more chances to grow and prove her value. And that's not all of the shady things that are going on with AEW. Mark Henry is actually ready to throw some verbal blows against Tony Khan and AEW if he needs to. So the WWE Hall of Famer recently sat down for a no-holds-barred interview with Poker Scout, and he touched on everything from Dream WrestleMania matches to his son's future in WWE. But it was his comments about AEW that really turned some heads. After spending 3 years with the company, Mark Henry walked away in May of 2024 and made it clear that not everything was sunshine and handshakes behind the scenes. And I quote, "You know what? I had a good time at AEW despite the fact that there were a couple incidents that I won't talk about unless they start talking about it. If they start talking about it, then I'm going to blast them because those issues that were issues that related to me leaving," end quote. While Henry didn't really go into details, his tone made it pretty clear there's plenty more that he could say if he's provoked. He added that there's still respect for the talent in AEW, even if things didn't end on the best of terms. Henry's departure from AEW came after he was largely used in a backstage role and appeared only occasionally on screen. He recently returned to WWE, confirming that licensing conflicts with Fanatics cost him big money appearances while he was unsigned. He says, quote, "I lost money because I was not with the company. So we went to the negotiation table, and here I am," end quote. Now back under the WWE umbrella, Henry seems to be fully focused on the future, both his own and his son Jacob's, who he says could be in the WWE ring within 3 years. But if AEW wanted to stir things up, Henry, as we all know, is not shy. And he says, quote, "If they start talking, then I'll talk. And when I talk, people listen." So, Max, does this shock you about the business that AEW and Tony Khan seem to be conducting?
Tony Khan is trying to be Vince McMahon. He's trying to recreate WWE the way Vince McMahon did things. And there are bodies in the path from the 80s that nobody talks about. The difference between then and now, people are willing to name names and tell stories. Now, I'm not saying there's a lot going on backstage. I'm not saying that there's any truth to the rumors that we're hearing, the comments that are being made by specific people. What I'm saying is, if Tony Khan is actually trying to do what Vince McMahon did in the 80s, there are bodies, there are skeletons in the closet, and that stuff is going to come out. And number one on that list sounds like Mark Henry is ready to talk. Layla Hirsch is probably going to have some things to say. Hell, I bet you here in whenever it is, November or December, Mariah May is going to have a few nasty words. And I'm not saying that everything they're going to tell us about what happens backstage is true, because for every story like this, you have the Eddie Kingston, the John Moxley, the Adam Copeland that's telling you that AEW is great. They care about their people, that they're doing everything they can for them. Which side do I believe? Well, clearly the numbers are telling me that they're not doing everything they can for them. So as much as I trust people like Cope and Moxley, I'm sorry, I got to go with the Mark Henrys and the Layla Hirsches that there's some shady stuff going on. Well, we already know that there is a coke dealer involved somewhere along the way, and I bet you that guy has some stories to tell too.
Well, we also need to talk to Britt Baker about her experiences too, and everybody that's had a sour experience with AEW that is either still with the company or not getting the push, or they're no longer with that company. I mean, God, I think that was the reason why Cody Rhodes left and went back to the WWE, is because of how things were starting to be ran, and of that nature. And there's still a lot of negative stories out on AEW, and we have a few more to get to. But with that being said, I think it's time we move on to Baron's buzzkill moment.
Let's kill the buzz.
All right, let's go.
Let's kill it, folks.
So, as we recently talked about, while Triple H was downplaying the internet's voice in wrestling discourse, AEW boss Tony Khan is taking the opposite route, leaning in, and he's listening. Khan opened up during a conversation with Sports Illustrated's The Takedown and made it clear that he values fan feedback when it's not even when it's not even flattering. And I quote, "I do like to listen to feedback from lots of people across pro wrestling, and especially if it's constructive, it can really be helpful. I think that there's a lot of times when you hear somebody saying something and they say, 'Oh, why didn't they do it this way?' Maybe there's a good idea they can use in their future, end quote. But he didn't stop there. Baron Khan doubled down on his open door mindset, even when it comes to fans with no backstage experience. And I quote, fans that have never been backstage at a show in their lives, but just love wrestling and watch it a lot, and they have great ideas. I had never been backstage at a wrestling show until I was in my 30s, end quote. The AEW CEO emphasized that wrestling ideas can come from anywhere, whether you're an industry veteran or just a lifelong tape trader. So here's the real question, Baron. With how the product is, how the wrestlers are performing, the storylines that have been kind of blah, is he really listening to us, or is he just blowing smoke up our skirts?
He's taking some of that smoke out of the bong and definitely blowing up some skirts because, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm gonna be real. I don't think anybody can sit here and say we understand the storylines that are. All right, let me rephrase that because there's storylines. Don't get me wrong. There's good stories for sure at the show, but there's no long-term booking.
Right.
Name something that was long-term booking that led from like their major show to the next major show.
Tony Khan's coke habit.
Well, yeah, that yeah, that one. But I mean, all right, that's my buzzkill there, boys. I don't know what else to say because that's right. You know,
my.
I don't think he's clearly listened to anybody, whether it's the wrestler, the fan. There just hasn't been anything, right?
There really hasn't. And honestly,
besides Timeless Tony Storm.
Yeah, that was great, man. Like that was a great story, but I feel like that's fizzled out now, and like we're talking about people moving to different shows. I read an article today about Mariah possibly contracts coming up, right?
Yep, we're gonna dive into that.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to
no,
ship here, but like
like
their people are leaving by the masses, but also there has to be some type of revolt, meaning like the wrestlers currently under contract have to pull him to the side and have these conversations instead of collecting that big paycheck like they did at WCW. And we've seen what happened there. Because the last thing we want to do as wrestling fans have that show go away. We want nothing but the best. I want them to compete with WWE right next to the ratings every week. I want that. We want that old school feel from WCW and WWE. We want that.
Right.
So I feel like
it's not even.
Yeah, we want options. We need the wrestlers and the show to all come together at some point and just say, "Hey, we need direction here because we're fucking confused."
Here's the thing, though. It's not just lying with the wrestlers and the storylines and things like that. I read an article that there's been some weird speculation that the numbers at HBO Max has been kind of fumbled with the viewership numbers. We talk about viewership numbers all the time, and I don't want to give a specific number out there. I want to say it was in the millions, though, that people are tuned in to HBO Max to watch AEW programming. But how many subscribers do they have? They can't have millions of subscribers. So how can you fumble these numbers? How can you make up these numbers? There's just something going on with that fucking company that I don't know who's lying to us, but they need to stop. Like, you just need to quit lying to us because we're not dumb,
Now, hold on, because I would like to point out that the official numbers for The Pit, which is a TV show on Max starring Noah Wiley of ER fame, working in a hospital, it averaged over 10 million global viewers per episode across its first 14 episodes.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I actually believe those numbers. Why do I believe those numbers? Because I think Warner Brothers Discovery is doing exactly what we talked about last week. They're going to brag about the good stuff. Whereas AEW, we have never seen Warner Brothers Discovery give any acknowledgement of the streaming viewership stats for that of any sort.
Yeah.
That means they don't want to discuss how bad it is because it's going to look just as bad as when we talk about the numbers from TNT and TBS.
Yeah, every week we get, anytime we get numbers from any show, whether it's WWE or AEW, we talk about it. And all the time that we talked about AEW, it's never been good. Now, despite the fact that they're on cable, and cable seems to be a dying commodity anymore, since streaming is taking over, that could lead into the possibility of those numbers being a little bit fluctuated. But again, it just something's going on with that company that I just can't put my finger on it because somebody is fucking lying to us, and it's really starting to piss me off. And I don't know if it's Tony. I think it might. I think it's. I should take that back. I don't know if it's just Tony.
Oh yeah, he doesn't just own the company. His father just doesn't funnel the money. You have to have investors in order to continue what you're doing. I think those numbers too, when they were talking about the million, I think somebody combined the numbers they found from Max as well as regular cable and combined it all. Because I do remember reading that article as well.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'm not going to name his name, but I've heard some stuff about the current head of WBD that is none of it positive. And I'll be honest, if half the rumors I hear are true, it makes so much sense that they're doing things the way they are.
Yeah, I've been kind of paying attention to what they're doing over at Warner Brothers Discovery, and I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on this. It's a developing situation, but just something.
Let's be clear about something.
Yeah,
I'm okay with making fun of Tony Khan because he's not going to do anything about it. So he might hop on social media and say, "Hey, please stop that." This guy. I'm not naming his name because he is the kind that will issue the cease and desist, and then he will enforce it. So that's why his name is not coming across my lips. If anybody else mentions it, that's on you, but I'm not saying his name.
Right.
Tell me his name and I'll mention it.
Let's move on. We have a brand new segment, and this is J-Bone's professional podcasting opinion. And J-Bone, remember when we started the show and we brought you on, and Lucha Underground was a promotion that was on El Rey Network, and you came on and you had your Lucha Underground moment. J-Bone's Mucha Lucha, I believe, is what we called it.
Oh yeah.
This is going to interest you. All right.
So
there's a guy by the name of Anthony Jensen. He's a former executive for Lucha Underground, and he isn't holding back anymore. And he just called out the Young Bucks over what he says is a straight up lie about Lucha Underground's offer.
Wait.
So,
say the name again.
His name is Anthony Jensen. And
that doesn't sound familiar.
So during the debut episode of Going Underground with Marty Elias and Jonah, the former Lucha Underground co-executive producer and contract handler fired back at claims that Matt and Nick Jackson were only offered $250 per match to join the Cult Wrestling promotion. That story, originally shared by Conan in 2020, has made the round for years, but Jensen says it's complete fiction. And I quote, "My offer to them was $1,500 for the team, or $750 if they did their own individual thing per episode." He added,
"Okay, that's not much better."
No, it's
just
not.
saying, it's like.
And he added that depending on how matches were structured, the Bucks could have earned either tag team or singles pay. Noting that they could even appear in multiple segments over a weekend taping. But instead of negotiating or even responding, Jensen said the brothers ghosted him, and things took a turn when he later saw one of the Bucks repeating the $250 rumor on Instagram, calling that claim, quote, absolute horse shit. He didn't stop there, though, J-Bone, and I quote,
Okay.
not accepting the deal, no big deal to me. I get it. Do what you feel is best for you. But don't go out in the real world and lie about it. That just pisses me off, end quote. Now, Jensen added that the Young Bucks weren't the only ones to misrepresent negotiations, calling out several people from the show for twisting the truth publicly over the years. Jensen also spoke on the podcast about Lucha Underground's eventual cancellation and hinted that there's still interest in reviving the brand down the line, but he made it clear that when it comes to history, he's not letting false narratives slide. So, J-Bone, in your professional podcasting opinion, what the actual fuck is going on?
You know, and I haven't talked about Lucha Underground in quite a while, and
I know.
Unfortunately, Lucha Underground is one of those things that, man, it was the best thing that came out in the last decade, and I'll say that over and over and over again.
That's Anthony Jensen, by the way.
That's him. Okay,
That's him.
I've never even seen him before, so. Whatever part of the network.
You said the same thing about the podcast.
I mean, I've heard of a few like important names like behind the scenes and such, but as far as him, that's one name that I've never heard of. The only ones I was like familiar with on a fairly regular basis, depending on what podcasts you listen to and who had who on for guests, would have been like writers and stuff like that. And we even had please familiarize his name with me.
We had Big Dick Johnson on here, formerly WWE. Yeah.
Yes.
Chris DeJoseph.
Thank you.
Hold on. Wasn't it you that facilitated that interview, J-Bone?
It was, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's another one of those guys that I haven't talked about in 10 years. So and I have no clue what he's doing now or anything. So anyways.
Yeah.
But look, yeah, I know that the Young Bucks were becoming quite the how do you want to say this? The indie darlings.
They were the hot commodity, yeah.
Yeah, they were becoming pretty popular. And at the time, they were only still only doing like New Japan and Ring of Honor, as far as I know.
Yeah. Well, they were still in the Bullet Club too.
Right, and they're based in California, which would have made it very easy for them to do the tapings. Excuse me. That's what they were looking for, you know. Convenience of certain, you know, people to either come across the border from Mexico into California and do the tapings, and or just get people from California like Brian Cage, Willie Mack, among many others.
It's cheaper. They don't have to fly them.
Right. But as far as the price tag that went along with them, I have heard the stories before about the Young Bucks basically ghosting whoever and not getting back to whoever corporate on the corporate side because of the low price tag offered. And look, whether it's $250 or $750 or whatever, that's still embarrassing. If you're going to pay me for anything on a TV episode, it better be at least $1,000. I'm sorry. I may not be taking bumps, but these are some of the best, you know, athletes and wrestlers around at that time.
Yeah.
between we're talking about a very young Phoenix. You're talking about a Jeff Cobb. You're talking about a Pentagon. You're talking about a young Swerve Strickland.
Prince
You're
Puma.
talking about Rey Mysterio from 10 years ago, and among so many others. And yeah, it's just the stories about contracts and pay coming from out around that time are. And it just, I got to remind people, it was not a wrestling company. That's the crazy part about it. Okay.
It was a more of like a,
it was a TV show.
It was a TV show. It was an overproduced TV show is what it was.
It was a TV show with wrestling matches on it. So, that had, real crazy sci-fi storylines and stuff, much more than, say your average, wrestling show, WWE, Raw, SmackDown, whatever you have the stuff that came out of Lucha Underground was crazy. People were getting killed. People were getting maimed. The wrestling was insane. It was a spectacle. It was an awesome spectacle, and it had it really had it was a world of its own. And how people got treated during that time, the wrestlers, I can't tell you how many stories I heard about people getting lawyers and people lawyering up and, trying to get out of this or trying to get paid more or whatever, just because they were being treated so, ass backwards.
And you had so many, you just mentioned so many names that came from Lucha Underground that have gone to either AEW or WWE. One of those names, Jeff Cobb, he's possibly on his way to WWE.
Yeah.
And another name in AEW that's floating around that might leave for greener pastures is Mariah May. She's possibly WWE bound too. The rumor mill swirling about how she still hasn't been on TV since her loss to Toni Storm at Revolution. And I, for one, would be really excited to see both Mariah May and Jeff Cobb head to the WWE to continue their career. Now, Mariah did sign a 2-year contract with AEW in 2023, so that contract might not be up yet. And apparently WWE knows of her interest in the company. So with that said, do you think that Max, we're going to go to you. Do you think that she should resign to AEW or go to the WWE route?
I feel like they're not going to have much more for her in AEW. Is that a possibility in WWE? Sure, but I think she's got a better chance of getting some stories if she goes to the WWE. The only problem is that there is a good chance that between now and her contract being up, they're going to convince her, hey, you're one of us. Why don't you stay here? And she's going to sign the new contract before knowing what they have in store for her.
Yeah.
I like Mariah May. I think she has great potential. Just unfortunately, she had a great run with Toni Storm.
Yes.
That was probably the best thing that they've done with her down there in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like Toni doesn't know what to do with her now. And I feel like that's how it's going to be for the rest of her contract.
Baron, it's funny because that's exactly what I was just going to say. Mariah May has had one of the best career storylines with Toni Storm in AEW. Do you think she should move on to greener pastures and see if she could, get a rise in the WWE?
I mean, of course I would want that, but I'm just thinking, that's why I took a brief second to think, where does she fit in?
in WWE.
Yeah, where do you guys legitimately see her being able to fit in on that roster right now?
See, I don't know, because there's so much going on, and I don't even know if WWE knows, to be honest.
I'm gonna throw something out here real quick, and you guys could toss it around if you like. Right now, the WWE already has about 5 or 6 Mariah Mays.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to come across. Is like there's not much for her on there.
AEW's Mariah May is Mariah May, and she's doing great. She had a hell of a storyline with Tony Storm. There's no reason why they can't capitalize on it in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it'll take a little bit to get some momentum going, but there's if she goes to WWE, there's like I said, there's already a ton of girls that already look and sound just like Mariah May. So I
agree. I don't think there's much for her on the main roster, like NXT, possibly. I can't think of any other body of work she's done in AEW that has been noticeable or that I can even tell you other than the work she did with Tony Storm. It's a great storyline, but let's be honest here. Tony Storm, I mean, she kind of, brought that to the next level. They did great work together, but I mean, it was primarily focused on Tony Storm, right? So I kind of agree that, I think she would probably fit better in the AEW. I think AEW needs the help. I think she could create great stories over there. I just don't see her fitting in on the main roster when we say WWE. So, yeah, I hope nothing but the best, but I would imagine she would stay with AEW.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting as to where she lands, and I mean, if she can sign a lucrative contract with AEW to get some TV time and actually have another good storyline like the one she had with Tony Storm, that would be interesting to see. But let's move on to TNA news, because man, there's another wrestler that's moving on to greener pastures, and that is Rich Swann. He has dealt with a lot of personal challenges outside of the ring, including an arrest for disorderly intoxication last year. The incident revealed some of his struggles, and now it appears he has officially parted ways with TNA. Fightful Select reported that Rich Swann signed a 2-year contract extension in 2022. That came to end in late 2024, making him a free agent. The deal included an optional extra year, but the promotion chose not to activate it. Although Swann has not been in TNA recently, he's remained active on the independent wrestling scene. He returned to action in October with Pro Wrestling Revolver. He's been regularly competing there and in GCW and in some other promotions too. As we know, Rich Swann was arrested on June 8th in Altamont Springs, Florida, on misdemeanor charges of disorderly public intoxication and causing a disturbance. Now, according to the arrest report, Swann tried to enter an apartment that he may have mistaken for his own. The person inside, feeling threatened, confronted him with a gun, prompting Swann to back off and leaving the area. It was reported that Swann entered a no contest plea, meaning that he did not admit guilt, but also did not contest the charges. So we really, I'm pulling for Rich here. I hope that he can put his past behind him and he's getting better and he moves on with his career. And buddy, we're cheering you on, buddy, for sure.
Yeah, so I believe at the time of the suspension, he had already been sober, from what I heard from behind the scenes, for a certain amount of time. What that time was, I couldn't tell you. So at that time, it seemed like, okay, he's going to sit on the sidelines for a while. He was doing stuff with AJ Francis. They had brought in Casey Navarro to kind of fill those boots. While in the meantime, AJ Francis and Casey Navarro have just been killing it in their team. And I think some people were hoping that Rich Swann would come back and really really get that team moving. But now, he's not coming back.
Right.
Hey, he had a great run in TNA. He even became world champ. Not too many people can say that.
Mm-hmm.
He even had a decent run in the WWE as a cruiserweight champion before that.
Yeah.
But he's got some demons. He's got some things he's got to figure out for himself, and yeah, we wish him well. And it looks like Scott, his old boss Scott D'Amore is even bringing him in. So hey, we'll see what happens with him.
Very cool, man.
He's got options now.
Yeah,
it's not like it was 10 years ago. There's plenty of options now.
Oh, sure, absolutely, and we're cheering you on, Rich. If you ever see this, and there's something else interesting too. There's always news in pro wrestling when it comes to rosters and contracts and things like that. And TNA, while they have lost some key members, including Rich Swann of their crew, they're still going. And it seems that they are making moves for a bigger roster at this point as well. So TNA has made additional moves to expand its talent roster. The company has been working on new signings that have not been publicly announced yet, but Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select says that TNA has finalized deal with at least 3 international wrestlers, and all 3 talents are already under contract, although their names have not been disclosed. The company has not provided further details either, and there's no confirmed timeline for when they will debut on television. Sources have reportedly indicated, though, that these signings are part of TNA's broader strategy to grow its presence in international markets. By bringing in talent from outside the U.S., the company is aiming to diversify its roster and expand its global footprint. Now, more information is expected as these new talents move closer to appearing on TNA programming. But you know what, J-Bone? We'll have to see what comes of the situation as TNA Wrestling tries to maintain a foothold in the incredibly competitive pro wrestling market. So do you think who those wrestlers could be?
There was a point where I thought maybe Rusev might have been one of those names, but nothing was nothing was definitively set at the time. It was, as far as all the free agents that are floating around out there, I thought maybe Rusev would be like a new, he, as far as like another big guy on the roster. Yeah, I think he'd fit right in. But honestly, who I think it is, if it's international names, I'm going to throw one out there, and the former WWE's is that Isla Dawn. Is that her?
Isla Dawn.
Isla Dawn, is that her name?
I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Former tag team partner to she's the
Alba Fire.
What's that?
Alba Fire.
Oh no, I was thinking of someone else.
Wait, what's happening here?
You weren't thinking of the Unholy Union?
Who is the women's intercontinental champion?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea.
No, that's the United States.
Oh, Lyra Valkyria.
Okay, I was thinking the girl I was thinking of coming to TNA was the tag team partner of hers. I botched that up, so my bad.
The whole time J-Bone was talking, the song Old Man River was going.
Poor J-Bone.
Mrs. J-Bone, can you bring him his medicine, please?
Get off my lawn.
Oh.
So no, that but yeah, Isla Dawn, Alba Fire recently joined Chelsea Green's crew. That's what happened. Yeah. All right.
She's part of the Secret Hervis.
Yeah. But
So we went from Rusev to Ivan. Like, what's happening here? Am I like what?
I'll tell you what's happening here. Old man. That old man River.
Was she released by WWE?
She was, which is ridiculous because they just were tag team champions together.
Right.
And Mayor's just trying to confuse me even more by telling me about Eddie Edwards' old TNA theme being used for Thea Hale now.
J-Bone any more than he's already confused.
Stop, Mir. Stop. Leave that man alone.
She was released February 8th.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's so many options, but I agree with your first one. I think I said it actually last week or maybe the week before. I think Rusev should have went to TNA. I think he's going to go to the main roster on WWE and get lost in the fucking sauce. I don't see anything coming from that at all.
Oh, you mean like Andrade?
Yes. Yeah, just like Andrade.
That's one of the very few matches on the, that has no meaning, but I will always watch because I think he's fucking great in the ring.
I believe that Sunday is going to be Rusev Day.
Oh, do you think he and Randy Orton?
I think possibly.
That would be
Let's save that for our predictions, Max, because I think actually you stole that from my brain. I was thinking the same thing. But I think what J-Bone was, the point he was trying to make, like, I think he would have been the big sign for the TNA.
Which, by the way, Saturday we will do our predictions for WrestleMania both nights. We're going to do it both nights on Saturday, and then after Saturday's show, we're going to come here and review Saturday night's show. Sunday, we might not get to it, but at least we'll have Saturday in the books, and you'll get our predictions, and we want to hear your predictions too. Tweet them at Max Mages. Right now, get your predictions in. Win yourself some free Ramblers merch. Max, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now, full transparency. He accused me of reaching into his brain and taking out what he doesn't know. Was he actually messaged it to me last night, but he was a little stoned and drunk, so he doesn't remember.
Right. What?
I thought that was Maxie that I was messaging. It was Max. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch that, man.
Yeah, it happens, man.
I take notes when you send me those late night messages, Baron. Just so you know.
He takes screenshots.
Fucker.
When J-Bone messages me late at night, I forward those all to his therapist. But yours, I actually take notes on.
Well, what about mine? When I message you?
We don't talk about those. Those are between us.
Exactly. I was going to say, do you guys even have to? The bromance that goes on over there. Sickening. Appalling.
Oh, my best friend.
My best friend.
My best
look who's talking.
Look now.
Did you know that he's my best friend?
When Styles messages me late at night, I forward that to law enforcement.
Well, that is the show for this evening. It's been a lot of fun, and again, we're going to do our predictions for Saturday and Sunday, night 1 and 2 on Saturday. So make sure you tune in with us. We will be back here and talking our predictions, and we'll review Saturday night's show right after it goes off the air for WrestleMania night number 1. And get your predictions in, please. If you want to win yourself some Ramblers Unleashed merchandise, shirts, a hat, whatever you want, we'll get it to you. The best predictions will win free merch. Max.
Let me clarify the rules on this real quick.
Yes, please.
Styles has been on the show with us. Does he qualify for the actual contest, or is it just open to the rest of our viewers?
Styles can play along, and we'll think about sending him some merchandise.
All right, Styles, you are to get on Twitter and send your predictions just in case.
Yes, absolutely, Styles. Send your predictions.
So are we going to be part of this giveaway too? Meaning, if we have the good record,
we're excluded. We just get bragging rights.
Okay.
It's
Fair
like
enough.
if I'm an employee of Coca-Cola, I can't participate in their competitions.
Exactly.
We are employees of Ramblers Unleashed, even though the company hasn't
I
paid
just
us in a
filed my
very long
taxes.
time.
I don't see no W-2, brother. I ain't paying taxes.
That's because we are considered contractors.
Yes, you're contracted.
All right.
Yes,
Fine.
even though you don't get a 1099, you're still contracted.
All right, fine.
But yes, we will
send those in. Send those in, guys. Like I said, on the last show, we want to do that giveaway, man.
Don't
For sure.
reach out to me, Styles. Read at Max Magus on Twitter.
Get the Q-tip out, clean out your ears, but when you hit resistance, you got to stop.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When you feel something and your eyes start rolling in the back of your head and you start to drool, that is when you need to stop doing what you're doing. So, all right. Well, that's the show for this evening. And again, we'll be back on Saturday to give you our predictions and review night number 1 of WrestleMania. We're really excited. We're looking to have a lot of fun. WrestleMania is almost here, fellas. How can they follow you on social media, Baron? Go.
Scumbag Jordan, 3 ins.
Three ins. Yeah. Baby. J-Bone, how about you, bud?
Oh, you can find me over on that other little podcast called Total Nonstop Impact, where we're doing all stuff TNA every week on Thursday nights. You can also find me on the old Twitter box at jbone5150.
And Max, make sure you watch out for Styles. He's going to show you his ass and some chaps. But how can they follow you on social media?
I see that he said that, and as I stated before, I will be forwarding all of those types of messages directly to law enforcement. His predictions, I will actually put into the notepad. To follow me and to tweet your predictions for this weekend at Max Magus. I'm going to say that again for the slow people in the audience. Looking at you, Styles. At Max Magus. That's for wrestling and all that fun stuff. For the Nerd Podcast, it's Our Shots Podcast. That's at Our Shots Podcast. Check us out anywhere where you listen to your podcast. It's called Random Shots or random-shots.net.
There you go. And that's a fun podcast to listen to if you are a fan of. And the fun thing about Random Shots is that they lived up to their name. They are random. So you can hear stuff talked about Star Wars. You can hear stuff talked about the best TV shows. You can hear stuff talked about anything really. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun show. So make sure that you
So upset I've not been invited because I know more about TV shows than I do wrestling.
I know.
Out there.
I know.
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. The way we do that show is we actually sit in the basement and record, and then the guy edits it. We don't usually do. It's kind of hard to bring people in when we try to do it where we record in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine. Fair enough.
And you can follow our show on Facebook at Ramblers Unleashed. So search for Ramblers Unleashed. You'll find it. You can find us on X too at the Ramblers Pod right down there. Make sure you follow us and tweet Max at Max Magus your predictions if you want to get yourself some free Ramblers merchandise. Ramblers Unleashed merchandise could be at your doorstep if you have the best prediction for both nights of WrestleMania, night 1 and night 2. So get them in. All right. And on Saturday, we will let you know. Stalk our social medias. We will let you know the time that we are going to go on, possibly after NXT is done at noon Central Time. We will go on probably right after NXT. All right. So stalk our socials, look for the link, and join us right back here on youtube.com/Ramblers Unleashed. And by the way, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. That tells YouTube that you enjoy what we're doing here and recommends our videos to more people. Yes, smash that thumbs up, please, and the subscribe button. And until Saturday, WrestleMania time, we will do it all over again. So enjoy professional wrestling. Get ready for WrestleMania. And on Saturday, we'll talk. See ya.
Also, happy Rusev Day.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming episodes.